Welcome to Book Thots, brand lifestyle podcast. We are thoughts for books, and these are our thoughts on books. I'm Adriana.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Jenna.
Three sisters stripping down one book at a time. Today we are continuing ACOMAF with chapters 10 through 18.
Before we jump in, we do have a content warning. Today's podcast is rated mature. We are Book Thots after all, so we are going to be using adult language, talking about adult topics. So please pay attention to who may be listening near you. Additionally, this episode will include spoilers for all 5 books. Each episode we will focus on specific chapters, but our conversation will include the entire series. Lastly, I'm just going to apologize ahead of time. Maybe we, but definitely Emily and I will be mispronouncing names and places. Emily will be leading this episode, so let's strip it down, girl.
Strip it down.
Girl, strip it down, girl. I realized I was on mute and I was like, gotta turn that off. Before we go to the strip down, just wanted to shout out Marshall's Brewing because we didn't do that the very first episode. Marshall Brew Co. is going to be sponsoring these next, 8 episodes. So as we brew up our very falsified theories, we're also going to be drinking some brews with some good koozies and some awesome merch. And if you would like to purchase some of their merch, then you can go on their website and use Book Thots 10 and get 10% off. So be sure to check that out. Okay, are we ready to strip it down? Chapter 10. Boom goes the dynamite. Tamlin has yet another outburst in the study, and everything is in pieces except Tamlin and Feyre. Luckily, Feyre shielded herself in a little shield bubble. Wait, what? Feyre can shield? Tamlin starts profusely apologizing and begging Feyre to give him time to change. As he hugs her, she instinctively hugs back, but doesn't voice a response because she's not sure what it would be. She was drowning, and he was bringing her down further instead of helping her swim. Tamlin spent the next few days making love to Feyre and apologizing on repeat, and fewer guards started to follow her. This was good enough, right? The days after that, Tamlin was gone more than not, and when he was home, Feyre didn't pester him for answers on his whereabouts. She knew he was instinctively a protector, and that's what he would always be, but is that what Feyre still wanted? Things seemed to shift back to normal, or rather, their new normal. Feyre spends her days reading in the library, not painting, and working on her mental shield. Her and Tamlin even have a chat that leads to sexy time, and the next morning, Feyre awakes to 2 voices in the hall. It takes her a second, but then she recognizes that voice as she stares at her palm and realizes it's that time of the month again. Not her period, but Rhysand is here. Rhysand is here to take her to the Winter Court. No, not the Winter Court. That's not right. That's the wrong court. To the Night Court. She jumps out of bed, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on her sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. She's nervous, but on the surface she looks calm and ready to drop bombs, but she keeps on forgetting. No, but Tamlin tries to be like, you're not taking her, which we all know is an empty threat. Even Feyre knows this. So he helps Feyre pack, and Feyre tries to approach topics they need to discuss, and Tamlin ain't having it. So she puts on her night court clothes that are way too big because of the weight she's lost, and she leaves with Rhysand, but not after a final pleading from Tamlin that he would give Rhysand anything he wants to end his bargain. Rhysand just says, I already have everything I want. Then they winnow away. How Tamlin acts in this chapter is very much like the throne room under the mountain. I picture him on his hands and knees, even though it doesn't say that, and he isn't doing that, but just like begging for Rhysand to just let Feyre out of this bargain, but not doing any work to actually get it done.
I'll do anything. Please, please. Like, ugh. Grow a backbone, dude.
Same reaction you get when he loses control and he's begging for forgiveness and can't get through her shields.
I don't know. I think it's just like grow up time. I don't know. I want to give him excuses. I get so mad at these chapters.
He should have control and power of his own actions as well. And even if you do mess up and you apologize for it, he goes right back, or he backtracks on what he says he's going to do, or the actions. I mean, they speak louder than his words for sure.
That was going to be my follow-up question is, do you think they are both in the wrong, or is Feyre pushing as hard as you think her body will let her, and Tamlin is just ignoring all the signs because of his own demons? Like, are they still both in the wrong? Because I do think at the end of the last book, the beginning of this book, they're both just fighting their own demons and not wanting to talk. So I wouldn't say they're both equally in the wrong, but they are both in the wrong. So at this point, do you still think that's the case, or do you even agree with that?
I do think that they both have their faults for not communicating things, but in this sense, we are seeing a lot more of Feyre pushing back, a lot more of Feyre trying to voice what she thinks she needs, even though she keeps swallowing and swallowing all of that pride, swallowing all of that tension, and trying to move on. And she's desperate for not only her partner to see her and to recognize what she's going through, but to do something about it. And everyone around her can tell. And it's what pisses Reese off most because he's like, they're just watching you wither away and they're not doing anything about it. Lucian will every now and then try to tiptoe and step up to Tamlin and just be like, hey, maybe you should train her, let her, have her restraints a little bit looser. But at the end of the day, he's just as terrified as Tamlin. And so when Tamlin says, no, don't push me on it, that's the end of it.
My
Tamlin is
boss.
fighting his own demons, but I don't think that his actions still justify what he's putting her through, what he's doing to himself, what he's doing to his court. You just can't do that. You can't lock somebody up like that and just expect everything to be okay.
The fact is when you're a leader, there's going to be more pressure on you to be, I don't know, a better person or to have to deal with your shit. And that's just the way it's going to be. And also, my boss has a favorite phrase that he'll call people sometimes, and it's weak stick. And I think Lucian is being a freaking weak stick this entire beginning of the book. Like, oh, it drives me insane.
So Lucian, I don't know if I can on him. I do not understand his commitment to Tamlin. I don't get that. I don't know if rereading it I'll see where that is better. I don't see that. I do see him seeing Feyre deteriorate and like actually being like, just hold on, like I'm working on it. I'm talking to him. I see you. I know this is going on. I think that in whatever position he's put himself, I do think he's trying his best. Ultimately, I don't think that that responsibility falls on his shoulders. I think that it's Tamlin and Feyre, and they're both still trying to push for this relationship that is not fitting anymore, because in these chapters she literally says, I'm not that girl that came here needing this protection. I'm not her. When that girl's neck snapped, she died. I'm not her.
Yeah.
And Tamlin still needs her. Like, he needs to be that for someone. And I'm not going to be the one he can be that for anymore.
Right.
Because I'm evolving. I'm growing.
I'm just not going to be as forgiving of Lucian because he is just, he's the only person besides Ianthe or whatever the crap you want to call her, who can step in and like, you obviously can't make two people like take action on things, but you can at least step in and be like, hey, this is unhealthy how you're treating her, or
Yeah.
your situation is unhealthy. And he's the only person that has a front row seat, and he's doing absolutely nothing about it because of his blind loyalty to Tamlin. I love that Rhysand is like, what the F, do you not like have food here? Like, how is
Yeah.
she withering away this much?
He's calling him out on it. Like, he's not going to just let this slide and be like, you can't be ignoring this. Like, she's clearly withering away in front of my eyes.
That's where it makes me want to put more blame on Tamlin in the relationship stance, where like you were asking, do we think that it should be more on Tamlin or Feyre, or they're both at fault? I do think that they're both at fault, but Feyre is being communicative and saying, I need this. You can't keep doing this to me. And then physically, you can see that it is hurting her. Feels like it leans more to his blame when he's ignoring all of this and not communicating as well.
Chapter 11. Feyre must be a 90s mom on Jenny Craig or a slim fast diet because this girl has lost some weight. The night court isn't even fully formed before Rhysand is questioning her, but Feyre doesn't have the energy for him. She doesn't even have the energy to give him attitude, so that of course makes Rhys worry. So Reese tries to pivot from interrogation to breakfast and a conversation, which kind of feels like an interrogation just with food. He asks about Tamlin's explosion, why the bond has been silent, and finally, if she was going to help him with his fight against Highburn. She doesn't give him much, no details, no snarky comebacks, and the answer to the last question is a no. Tamlin is trying on his end, so she wouldn't risk their progress by working with his number one enemy. The breakfast ends without another word. Feyre doesn't show up for dinner that night either, or breakfast the following morning. Finally, at noon, she emerges from her room to find Reese waiting for her and ready to start her next lesson. A writing lesson, which says, Rhysand is a spectacular person. Rhysand is the center of my world. Rhysand is the best lover a female can ever dream of. Feyre easily writes down the sentences. I assume shoves it back in his hands and is like, yeah, I practiced because I'm a prisoner. I mean, guest, locked in the Spring Court Castle. What else would I be doing? That night, Feyre finds books at her door and a note that Reese had to leave, but she only needs to ask for him if she needs him. She doesn't. It's not until the end of the week that Reese finally returns. With food in hand, he finds Feyre camped out reading one of the books he brought her. He uses the plate of dinner as leverage to get her to finally open up. Rhysand is clearly lost on how to help Feyre, but once a little bit of her rage flickers, you can almost hear his sigh of relief. Somewhere deep within her, Feyre has a little fight left. It's only when she thinks about going back to the Spring Court that rage blinks out and she realizes she is free falling with no end in sight. The next morning, Tamlin is already waiting on Feyre to be brought back. Rhysand drops her off with parting words, fight it. Tamlin greets her with his usuals, an empty promise, interrogation of her time at the Night Court, and sex later that night. Feyre tries to justify his actions with knowing he is just trying to protect her, even when despite previous progress, the sentries are back at full force the next morning. I guess even in my multiple rereads, I've also never noticed how absolute fuming Rhysand is this whole time. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
like almost every sentence about him, it's like he's on the verge of turning into that monster he hates being because he's just
Yeah.
so angry.
And she even
Yeah.
notices a lot of those like tendrils of his like wings trying to crawl out, basically. And he's just like, I'm trying to keep it at bay. Come on, baby girl. Like let's fight. Let's do something. I just need you to let that anger out, but in a positive way, because right now, like, I'm very concerned. You've been super quiet. Feel something, any emotion.
Rhysand mentions that if she keeps trucking along and kind of to himself, like if they keep going the way they are, that they're letting Amarantha win. And
Yeah.
Jenna, you said that last episode. You're like, are they not kind of already letting Amarantha win because of the way that they're acting? I just wanted to point that out because Jenna, you were
It's
right.
true.
Well, I mean, if we all say that Rhysand is right, because, you know, he definitely is. So,
This would be a no sexy time day for me. This would be just an already assumed I came back. I am just dust and bones at this point, and you interrogated me. We're not having sex later tonight.
He always does that.
he's all a different kind of bones and he's ready.
Yeah.
So emotionally stunted that he only knows how to have sex. That's it.
That is their
It's the
relationship.
physical communication for them, for sure. I mean, that is all
Yeah.
that they rely on, and it's not helpful.
And she says she does it. Yeah, she says she does it too. He has his like explosion and she's only still alive because she shielded herself. She's like, I hugged him back because that's the only way I can communicate. I can't speak to him.
But when you're
Yeah.
physically communicating versus acknowledging the depth of what conversations need to happen, like you're just putting off the inevitable and you're still burying those wounds and you're making them worse. You're making them worse. I just love how angry Reese was when he saw her just like in her sheets, even skinnier. And he's like, so you just keep her locked in the house and ready to play with whenever you feel is okay, but yet you won't like get up with her in the middle of the night. You won't make sure she's eating. You won't let her have some goddamn sunlight at this point.
Yeah, it's only been 3 weeks since because
Yeah.
it's 1 week out of the month, so it's only been 3 weeks, and she already doesn't fit in the night court clothes that she was given.
Yep.
I was just gonna say my mom would buy like Slim Fast stuff, and for the longest time, and if you gave me one today, I think I would still like a Slim Fast cookie dough bar. It was like a little sweet treat.
I always ate my mom's Slim Fast bars. I loved those things. And even the drinks, the
The
like little protein
milkshakes,
drinks.
That's funny how some things like just stick with you.
not sponsored. Is Slim Fast even around still?
Slim Fast, are you calling us right now?
Yeah.
Probably.
Do you want to get Feyre in the throes of her mental illness skinny? Slim Fast.
Minus the sunken eyes.
Yeah.
Get Slim Fast.
Slim Fast. You want the life to leave your soul? Slim Fast. And the last thing I had for this chapter, because it's kind of a quick one, is just free falling is a scary place to be. You almost rather have any sort of feeling than to feel like you're free falling.
That
Yeah.
numbing sensation is what eats away at you.
Maybe that's why Tamlin keeps grasping anger, because that's all I don't know. I'm trying. I'm really, really trying. He's so bad right now.
It just gets harder and harder for me to see, and you guys will see in a second how hard it gets for me to be Team Tamlin in any sort of way. Kind of actually getting to the point of some Henry vibes for those of you that listen to our Kindred's Curse saga. Although, I mean, we all know I'll never hate anyone as much as Henry, but like he's getting up there.
Chapter 12, headed off.
It's house arrest time. Feyre isn't allowed out of sight of the manor the first week back from her time with Rhysand. Side note, have you guys seen the movie Disturbia with Shia LaBeouf?
Think so. Where he like witnesses the murder cross or whatever.
Yeah, he like beats up his Spanish teacher because he's angry about his like parents' divorce or something like that. And so he's on house arrest. And then he ends up like watching his neighborhood, and his neighbor is a murderer. I gotta say, for all times like thriller, scary movies, that's a top 10 for me. I just loved it when I saw it. Top 10. You guys should watch it. Recommended.
Da-na-na-na-na, it's Shia LaBeouf. You guys know
Disturbia.
that song? Look it up.
Like the
You won't
darkness in
regret
your
it.
Disturbia. Okay. Anyways, back to the book because we'll spend all day doing that. Additionally, all his Springcourt friends have been dismissed, and Ianthe is the only one allowed to visit, to protect, to spy, to warm Tamlin's bed. Who knows? 8 days later, Tamlin returns, looks over Feyre to make sure she has not been harmed, and then heads into the study with Ianthe to have a conversation that Feyre is not privy to. And just so you guys know, I couldn't think of the word privy while I was writing this. And so I asked Jordan how to spell pervy because I was like, not pervy to. Jordan, how do you spell pervy? Like, when you're not pervy to a conversation. And he's like, do you mean privy? And I did. As the doors are closing, Feyre sees red hair and for a second thinks it's Amarantha, but it's not Amarantha, just Lucian. Just Lucian. But before her mind can process this, her panic has allowed her to grow claws. Feyre quickly wishes them away and they disappear, but not before Lucian notices. He gives her a little head nod and she follows. Once they're alone in another room, Lucian asks Feyre about her claws and how long they've been appearing. She says that was the first time. Then the rest of the conversation is just Lucian to himself. He says he is going to bring up training Feyre again to Tamlin, and he repeats this several times, almost convincing himself that he's going to have this conversation with Tamlin. Feyre sleeps until dinner, and as she is heading down the stairs, she overhears a conversation between Ianthe, Lucian, and Tamlin. The highlights of this conversation? Let's see. Ianthe states that training Feyre puts not only a target on her back, but any future children her and Tamlin might have, or even makes Feyre a target to capture and breed children with. Oh, and then she suggests assassinating Rhys. Okay, Ianthe. Lucian is arguing every one of these points along the way, so like the one good thing he's done this entire series. Tamlin finally says no to training. Feyre slips back upstairs without even eating dinner, and Tamlin doesn't seek her out that night either. All right, pause. Everyone take one big breath with me. Rereading this part of the chapter 12 made me so angry that I think I might be back on Team Tamlin doesn't deserve a second chance. And I think that's because paying so close attention to every detail made me feel all of the feelings Feyre felt in this moment. Feyre is on her metaphoric leash on her safe walk in the garden and realizing she isn't the human girl that first came here. She changed under that mountain, and Tamlin needs to accept this. So she goes to talk to him, but finds Tamlina, and that was a typo, but I'm freaking leaving it, and Lucian armed through their teeth, much like the sentries watching Feyre's every move. They're heading out to scope out some threat at the Spring Court border. Feyre begs to go with him. He says no. She threatens to follow. He says don't. She tries and then runs into an invisible wall he's put up to lock her in. Lucian is like, so sorry. Just be patient. I'll try to pretend to help. Feyre freaks because being locked in and trapped is kind of like really triggering for her. She becomes a tornado of darkness in the foyer, having a mental breakdown. Then Moore shows up. Please, guys, hold the applause. Moore picks her up, leaves a few parting words for the servants, walks out with Feyre in her arms, goes through a cave, ends up in the summer court where a familiar voice is waiting for them. Rhysand takes Feyre from Moore's arms, and the chapter ends with him saying, "We're done here," then winnowing away. I did discover later on that I think that this chapter is so triggering for me because my greatest fear is being trapped in a scenario where I cannot get out, aka prison. And this is very much like prison. So I just got all sorts of angry again.
I just can't imagine having, I don't know, even one of my children like sitting there begging me, like, please don't leave me here. Please don't leave me here. And me locking them away.
I think
It's crazy that he can just do
It's
that.
the desperation of needing to be heard, needing some action to help her understand that like you're still willing to, even if you're not going to train her just yet, you're willing to take her with you to show her what side of the war is being unleashed or whatever is going on in the lands. Like you're including her in something that she should be a part of.
Feyre has been under the mountain. She's been around all of these courts and everything already. And he's using her to gain information about the night court. She's seen maps. Like, she's not this dumb, unknowledgeable girl anymore.
Yeah.
She can be used and have a position, and instead he's locking her out and letting Ianthe come advise him, who's also a woman. So I don't know how it's like, how she's gaining so much power with Tamlin and Feyre's not, when Feyre's sitting there asking for it too.
Does it not disturb you guys that his like excuse for every time she is denied anything with his court is basically that she's done enough?
Or that it's just unsafe
That she's
and I can't lose you again.
Exactly, or that she's earned this. Like, what?
I don't want it. I don't want it. You can earn something and not want it, and I don't want this, dude. I can't live like this.
it's just crazy to me too that they have a conversation about what's best for Feyre without Feyre. That seems like
Yes.
not a productive conversation.
Okay. All of these High Lords have had babies previously. That's how other High Lords get in power, right? When have the children been kidnapped and raped so that there can be more powerful High Lords? Like, is that in the history, or is Ianthe just pulling this out of her ass
I think Ianthe is just saying
to
like,
get in Tamla's ear?
I think Ianthe is just saying like, Feyre is so powerful, Tamlin, you're so powerful. If you guys make babies and they have the powers of all combined High Lords, people are going to want your kids and people are going to want to make more babies with Feyre so that their kids can have the combined powers of all the High Lords.
No, I mean, I get that. I don't see where her basis for that claim is coming from, I guess.
I don't see where anything that she says has a basis of where it's coming from.
If Feyre's that powerful, then she can just, take care of herself.
Yeah.
Just train her, and then anybody that comes and try and rapes her can be misted. I use that term because that's coming up.
Just wish Tamlin would take this time to like also not run his court the way the generations had before him. Like, clearly he obviously didn't want this role. Clearly he's doing what he in his right mind thinks is the best for the court after the war and the previous war to come, or not the previous, the upcoming war to come. Like, he's just, but there are other ways to handle things, and he's not doing his best in that regard.
No, he doesn't need to be a High Lord because his way of governing is I'm going to do everything that I can morally like check out as like okay that my
Mm-hmm.
dad did. And if it
Yeah.
doesn't like completely check out, then I'm not going to do it. So slaves out. Tithe, okay, there's some positives that come from that, right? Like it runs my court. So my daddy did it, I'm going to do it. But there's no passion in it. Like there's no, I mean, I understand he never thought he was going to get the job, right? Like he's put in this position without ever thinking it was going to be possible. But can you not just hand it off to someone that cares more?
I don't even buy that. I don't buy that. I don't get it how he never was going to have the position when the High Lords at a certain age, the heirs start producing the powers. Like, I think he presented all of the, like, I'm going to be the heir signs. So I think he was going to have it.
I guess it never talks about the strengths that his brothers had. So who knows if he was more or less powerful than them. I have a theory, kind of.
Oh, I like the theories.
I think that there's a chance that these next couple books will include us going beyond this continent because it's just mentioned so much like oh yes when I was abroad or they do this abroad, Elaine wants to go abroad. So I just think that at some point in the next couple of books we're going to go abroad. So that's just because it talks about here that Ianthe mentions she's made friends across the sea, but we don't know who
Right.
they are. We just know that she's kind of like, hey, I made some friends across the sea and they could probably take care of Rhysand. Like they could do it, we can't. So who are these friends? How powerful are they? If you think they can take out Rhysand, so there has to be more there. Or it's just mentioned and we're never going to hear about it again.
I think that there's several hints that we're going to go see a few more islands of Fae. I think we'll travel some. Are we going north?
We're going north to find the dragons. Also, I just thought if for some reason ever someone were to like pop up through the window and you could see them, just don't tell me because that would really freak me out.
I'm going to tell you. That would be, it's number one. I'm calling the police.
Chapter 13. Feyre awakes to an open room overlooking snow-capped mountains. And who's that sleeping in the armchair next to her bed? Rhysand. She doesn't remember what happened, so she asks Rhysand. Rhysand explains and says he had Moore be the one rescue her because everything had to be done by the book to avoid an internal war. He also goes on to say she is under no obligation to stay and even offers Feyre a job. Feyre is obviously a little shell-shocked from the recent events. She can't believe Tamlin locked her away, and she's not sure she ever wants to go back. She's also curious about all the powers she displayed. The shadow, obviously Rhysand. The wind shield, wind shield, maybe Daycourt. Shapeshifting, Tamlin. What else could she do? Rhysand says she has time to figure out everything she can do, but for now, she needs to rest. He has business to take care of, so he starts to get up to head out, but Feyre doesn't want to be left alone to just rest. So she asks to go with him. He ponders for a second, then tells her if she does, there's no going back. She will have to keep what she sees from everyone, including Tamlin. She agrees. Rhysand says she has 10 minutes to get ready. Then they're heading to Valeris, the city of starlight. Feyre rushes to take a bath and put on her night court clothes. She assumes they must be heading to some ruins of a city since mostly everything was destroyed by Amarantha. But when she winnows with Rhysand 15 minutes later, she appears in a townhome that's well lived in and loved, and it's in the middle of a city. My first thing is I just kind of forgot like how powerful Moore is too. That she's like, I don't know, to me it's like I imagine in a snap of fingers, she has rendered all of Tamlin's sentries that are armed to the teeth as like useless to be able to get to Feyre.
Yeah, she kind of a badass.
But she's a badass for walking in there and then still being able to. I guess she said Reese is who dropped the shield, like the barrier that Tamlin had placed. But at least she was able to carry her out and be like, "You're free. We're walking out of here."
Yeah, she just keeps talking to her the whole time too. It's like, you're free, you're free, you're free.
Yeah, but she's carried by strong arms, but a distinctively female body. So that's what she says. And Rhysand is the one to break the shields, but Mor is the one that like renders all the sentries useless. And I like that. I didn't put it in my recap that Alice has like a little conversation with her and is like, "Yo, take care of our girl." And Mor's like, "I'm gonna do more than take care of her, unlike you."
Like, Alice, I love you, but right now you're a dumb bitch.
Yeah.
So step back.
Step back. And I will say that both homes, especially the more details that we get as these chapters carry on, are my dream home. Like having an open home in the mountains that I can just overlook the snow, just a dream. And then a townhome, dream. Because I picture like a brownstone basically with all the character. So, dream.
Even that room
What?
in the city when she like walks away from the friends and she's like, "I'm just gonna go lay down for a bit," and there's Caradwyn and Nuala there like helping her get ready, and she's like, "No, just leave the windows open. I'll fall asleep to the view. Like, I don't need the darkness right now. I want to see all of this."
The fresh air coming in, but being able to still stay warm. I don't know, picture like probably the nicest house in like Vail or Aspen, Colorado. Doesn't even compare to how nice the House of Wind is.
Plus, it's alive.
What's the movie on Disney where the house was alive or like became evil?
The Encanto?
No, not recent. It's like a smart home.
Monster House?
Smart House.
Or, oh, okay, Smart House.
Yeah, Smart House. Monster House, I don't think is Disney, Jenna, so get a grip.
I thought it was funny that Rhysand was like 10 minutes and then he doesn't say anything until she comes out and he's like, "That was 15.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
He takes baths really quickly. I just love
how he ignores them at the door too as they're like banging. And Cassian's like, "Race, let us in. We can hear you, you asshole."
Chapter 14, aka Part 2, The House of Wind. Feyre is taking in her surroundings in the townhome, aka the place Rhysand reserves for only him and his family, well, and of course the twins, when two idiots start pounding on the front door. While they yell playful taunts and continue knocking, Rhysand tells Feyre two things, which actually is like 10 different things, but it's listed as two things. So number one, only him and Mor can winnow into this townhome, and only people Rhysand and Feyre wish to see can enter. She is safe here and in the city of Valeris that hasn't been breached in 5,000 years. Number two, it's up to Feyre if she wants to meet the two dummies knocking on the door. There's hope in Rhysand's eyes that she will say yes, but she asks to be woken up when they leave and turns away. As the twins lead her to her room, Feyre hears a third voice, female and ancient. Crazy enough, it almost seems like the twins flinch at this voice. And sometime later, Feyre hears Mor's voice, but she gets too lost in her own mind to process the conversation. The bedroom she is led to has a very inviting bed and overlooks a winter garden. While getting dressed into sleepwear, she asks the twins who everyone was. The answer? Rhysand's inner circle. Feyre can't believe High Lords kept things so casual. The twins say they don't, but Rhysand is different. Feyre then asks about the city and how it could possibly be untouched from Amarantha's wrath. They don't answer, saying that is Rhysand's story to tell. After the twins leave, Feyre falls asleep to the winter birds chirping a melody and wondering if she would ever go back to the spring court. Or if she didn't, would that be punishment enough for what Tamlin did to her? I just love them calling Amaranth the tiny little ancient one. Tiny ancient one. Knowing what she's capable of. I mean, just that, like, even just those little taunts, like the found family is from the get-go in these chapters, even with more, like from the get-go with
Yeah.
more, but now you start to see everybody else.
You see their interactions and see that even Feyre asking the twins, like, is that how they all talk to him? Like, why are they talking to their High Lord in this manner? And she's like, it's casual here. That's his inner circle. That is his family. Like, you will come to find out that it's different.
Yeah, I mean, everything is so formal at the spring court.
Yeah.
So she hasn't had a time to be like, oh, the way that he leads this is he wants his family around him to help make the best decisions that he can make. Do you think that you would respect the twins being like, that's not my story to tell, or would you be annoyed at not having more answers?
I think it would make me like them more, honestly, if they respect another person enough to be like, that's actually not something I can tell you.
Yeah. I think the way she wrote it specifically is like it's not Reese keeping us from telling you. It's the fact that we don't want to do it injustice and that there's no one here who doesn't know what he did for us. We don't take that lightly. They're letting him tell her.
Like, I respect him so much that I'm not going to tell his story. That's for him to share. See, like, even just these, I don't even remember them beyond this book. I'm sure they're in the next couple ones, at least mentioned here and there. But just the fact that they're such a minor role in the eyes of, like, all the other or in our eyes compared to all the other characters, but you still feel that bond that they even have with Rhysand is just chef's kiss.
Yeah.
I don't mean to, compare High Lords or anything, but I just gotta say, when Feyre's like, he's not letting you, and they're like, no. He hasn't restricted us on anything. We're totally free to talk about and to whoever we want, but we respect him enough not to do it. When Lucian's like, I can't. He's my High Lord. He's my High Lord. I can't.
It's the rules in place that are different. It's the respect that each one of them kind of expects, but at the same time, it's how they treat their closest ones as well. Because Tamlin won't even let Lucian have an argument with him to kind of show him that he's in the wrong. He's just, no. The answer is no, don't bring it back up.
At least from what we get in it, Tamlin tries to do everything himself when everyone knows the best leaders anoint people for their greatest weaknesses. And I think Rhysand shows that. Also, Jenna, killer Lucian voice. Anytime he has a speaking role, you'll be doing it. So
please.
Props to you.
Okay.
Is there anything better than crawling into a duvet cover in the middle of winter when the room is cold? I don't know if there is.
Especially since she's got, that view that she describes with those like ceiling to floor windows, basically, the fireplace going. Yeah.
Crispy sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It just makes me think there's this girl on TikTok, and I'm gonna butcher every word I'm about to say, but I think she lives on Svalbard. I can't even say it. Svalbard. Yeah, she lives in the North Pole, and she puts her duvet cover every morning out on a railing to air it out, because that's like what her culture does. And every time I see her do that, I'm like, I wish I lived in a place cold enough to do that every morning, because I would do that every single. But her videos are like, welcome to Svalbard. So that's probably why I butchered it.
I would also do that. What about when people, okay, I know this is totally off topic, but the ice bath things, when people live in the really cold areas and they have the ice, would you guys do that every morning like they do? Or
I don't know if I do every morning, but the times that I've done like Alpine Lake, like where you jump into the water after the end of a hike or when you reach the top of the hike, I have felt very refreshed afterwards. So I think I would like it. But I think, isn't there like an article where it's like ice baths are good for men but not for women or something?
I haven't read that one.
Well,
I'm sure you could find an article that says that. I have read that they're good to like reset your body.
I guess just click here for misinformation.
Yeah. I like them. I've
Yeah.
done several polar bear plunge type things and I enjoy it.
I enjoy the after, not the during, just like running.
Yeah. Last time I had a cold when I jumped in and then I like sucked in water and I thought I was going to drown. I literally thought I might drown because I was coughing and like trying to swim. It was very ugly. The water shocked me so much that it was awful. It's not a good time.
It's like a
But I'd
shock
do it
to your
again.
body.
I would do it again.
11 out of 10. Chapter 15. Feyre awoke 4 hours later, more rested but not quite recovered. Dressed in warmer clothes, she goes out into the city with Rhysand. There's about 500 sentences of details for the city, and beside it sounding like my literal dream city, the main thing to note is this city is untouched. Remember, it hasn't been breached for 5,000 years. Also, off in the distance of the city are several mountain peaks. The middle one looks like it almost has windows. That, in fact, is Rhysand's other dream home. And I say other dream home because it's another one of my dream homes where they will be dining tonight. Feyre asks, how? How did he keep the city safe? How did he keep it a secret? Why not share it? Rhysand answers, his ancestors preserved this place a millennia ago, and when Amarantha came, he had to act very quickly. But now is not the time for this conversation. Now is the time to show Feyre why this city was worth the cost of everyone else. Tea shops, laughter, and market squares. There's 2 on the south side and 2 on the northern. Feyre gets to visit the first market, the Palace of Thread and Jewels, which is where all the jewelry and clothing makers are. The second market is the Palace of Bone and Salt, and on the other side of the river is the third market, the Palace of Hoof and Leaf. Feyre walks with Rhysand and occasionally asks questions. Every person that spots Rhysand shakes his hand and welcomes him back. He knows them all by name. Later in the afternoon, they stumble upon the artist quarter, or what they call the Rainbow of Valeris, where musicians, painters, dancers, etc. all gather. Feyre had never considered herself an artist, and this is where I also love the theory that she's actually not. But now, where all that light in her once lived was just a filthy prison cell, she tells Rhysand that she is tired. A rage has built up in her on this walk. To watch people pass by and not know what so many people went through, made her want to throw a rock through a window. Rhysand says, easy, and my people are blameless, and just like that, the rage has simmered. Of course they were. She was just tired, and now it's time for dinner in the House of Wind. Feyre asks who exactly is going to be there, and Rhysand answers, my inner circle. Rhysand wants her to meet them to decide if she actually wants to stay and work for him. Mor, Feyre had met, was his third in command. The other 3 are Cassian and Azriel, both Illyrians, and Amren is his second in command. Amren may look high fae, but something old prowls beneath her skin. She also is very vain and has a temper like Feyre, so Rhysand warns Feyre to be careful. He is the most powerful High Lord in history, and even he never interrupts Amren. Feyre looks for the fear that should be her natural response to this, but finds nothing. She starts to think it would be actually a mercy to be ended when Rhys grabs her face to make her look at him and is like, absolutely not. Do not think that for a second. Feyre somehow slips into Rhysand's mind and sees how awful she looks, then slips back out. Rhys is like, how did you do that? And Feyre is like, I don't know, but it's happened with Lucien too. Rhysand is fascinated by her power and reminds her to keep her own mental shields up, especially now since she's seen Valeris. Then he explains that the power to slip into one's mind is rare and given at random. It's called a Daemati. Feyre is angry again about this protected place and protected people and walks ahead of Rhysand. But next, when they're back on top of the townhouse's rooftop garden, Feyre learns she has to fly with Rhysand to get to the House of Wind. Absolutely not, is her response. But since winnowing isn't allowed, walking up 10,000 steps is the only other option. After some bickering, Feyre finally agrees, and while in the air, Rhysand confesses how much he loves flying since he was a kid and how his mother would sometimes fly with him. When they land, he says 3 things on his mind. For 50 years, he dreamed of this place and never thought he'd see it again. He wished he was the one that slaughtered Amarantha, and he's thinking if war comes, it might be a while before a night like this happens again. Feyre confesses 3 things in return. She must have been a fool to not ask to see more of the spring court. She's thinking she was lonely and hopeless, and she might have fallen for the first thing that showed her a hint of kindness and safety. And lastly, she's thinking maybe Tamlin knew that and wanted someone like her, and maybe that worked for the person before under the mountain, but not after. Their conversation ends with 2 winged males standing with a grin on their face. So I think it's kind of crazy that even like the mountains know, or in my opinion, that the mountains know that she's going to be High Lady or was meant to be High Lady of this court, because it says when she's like looking at the mountain range where the House of Wind is, that as if in answer that undulating, is that a word? What does that mean?
I don't know how to say it. It's kind of like Deyes.
Well, either way, the mountains are like a cat brushing against her legs for attention. Like she's like, I know that these mountains are calling me, like an affectionate cat around my legs. So I am just like, that's crazy that even the mountains are like, hey, I see you. I know what you're going to become, even before she knows what she's going to become. And I mean, Rhysand has hope, but he doesn't know exactly what's going to happen.
All the creatures of this land can sense it.
It's like when birds fly away when a hurricane is coming, but this is in a positive way. Like the birds are flying to Feyre. Do you think that women make better leaders, or just a good leader is a good leader? Like if we had more women leaders, do you think it would be a positive thing?
I do think we need more women leaders. I think it would change a big shift in things.
I don't see a negative to having more women leaders.
I don't
I'm not, see that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that one's necessarily better than the other, but we definitely need a shift.
Yeah.
And having
I
more.
don't see how adding a perspective to leadership could hurt. I mean, that is what leadership's supposed to do, is see different perspectives and the best outcomes for those. So,
Well, I'm trying to think why I wrote this question. Like something in their conversation had to make me be like, why
I think it's
did I write
because in the next chapter when she's meeting everyone and he's introducing that Amren is his second in command and Mor is his third. And this is the second time basically that she's realizing that in Rhys's court he has trusted more women to be in leadership roles rather than what she's seen in the spring court when she's been told, oh no, you won't be High Lady, oh no, you won't have these responsibilities, you're basically just to sit there and look pretty and be at my right hand side basically, but you will have no interactions with the people unless I say so, you will not help them rebuild, you will not. She's seeing the power structure dynamic change big time, and she's curious about that because it's something that I think she thrives for or is desperate for. Kind of leading to your question, do you think women could potentially still carry that weight well?
Yeah, I mean, because he's obviously choosing women to have a high place of power, and he's also wants Feyre to dream bigger than herself.
Yeah.
And he's not choosing them because they're women, but he's including them in the conversation because he sees them as equals when it comes to this scenario.
That
or
is
more
the
than equals.
most important thing right there.
I would say that overall,
Yes.
it's good. Yep.
Overall.
Yep.
Yeah. Good.
Yep.
I think we can all agree.
Yeah. We're all women here. Would you want the power to slip into someone's mind?
We've talked about this with many other books. This one's a dangerous, slippery slope.
Yeah, I think the only time we've talked that we would be okay going into someone else's mind is having that communication with your significant other. And that's
Right.
like the only scenario. I also, on the reverse side of that, would tell Rhysand, like, hey, thanks for taking me to Valeris, but next time there's a secret place with thousands of people that my secrecy relies on their livelihood, don't bring me here until I am 100% confident in my mental shields, because that's a lot of pressure. That's just
but
a lot of pressure out the gate.
He's also, since the training has started, he's seen how much stronger she is just right off the bat. And I think for him, it's a two-factor thing. Like, he's trying to open up and show her that I'm willing to be honest with you. I'm willing to trust you. I'm willing to show you this side of my court and these people that I care so deeply about, that I will do anything for, including protect them. But I also think it's a nod to the fact that she is more capable than she realizes. And it's just those little reminders that he even says, like, shields up. You need to make sure you're practicing that shields up, because at any point in time when you're emotional, I can get in or somebody else can get in if they're interrogating you. And so it's those little reminders. It's not necessarily a threat in that regard. It's just a reminder, like, hey, keep practicing. You're stronger. But like anything, you just need to keep practicing to keep it.
I do think she is at a point where she needs somebody to trust her. She needs somebody to push her as well. And he is doing that. He's both pushing her and trusting her. So, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, I don't want the pressure. I don't want 5,000 years to be undone because I fuck up one time. But I also appreciate the fact that he's like, I know that you're good enough to be able to be here with me.
They must teach mental shield blocking in elementary school in Valeris. Like,
It's kindergarten 101.
yeah, along with numbers and the alphabet, you will also learn how to open and close your mind.
No, because not everybody's Daemati.
Yeah, but can't you protect yourself no matter what? Or no?
I think it's more of a strong will. I don't think it's necessarily that you can, because it doesn't seem like there's anybody else that Reese can't slip in, like, mind-wise, get into and even have control over or, like, ruin.
Do the people of Valeris never leave Valeris? Do they always, that's just where they grow up and die and they don't leave the area?
At least for the last 50 years, they for sure haven't. But it did make me chuckle a little bit because when they're talking about the Rainbow Alley or whatever it's called, they're like, it's like world renowned or something like that. And I was like, what? Like among the people of Valeris, they're like, this is world renowned because, like, where else are they going? But before Amarantha happened, they have travelers like going and trading with other people. So, because they say, like, the people that used to trade on the boats had to start farming the lands because they had to stay in Valeris. So I don't know if it's like when Rhys-An's at his full power, he can just protect everyone from their minds being infiltrated. I don't honestly know how that works.
He protects the whole town and he couldn't protect something, like, he couldn't do it all with his limited amount of power. So he chose to still protect Valeris. So his power is somehow like fueling the shield that protects them. And so I don't know that they have to have the mind blocking power. It's just, that is weird. Are they stuck in this Valeris bubble or do they get to travel?
I
That's
just
what I'm
picture a
saying.
snow globe.
Yeah, that's what I always picture.
When he goes under the mountain, his power is used to put them in that snow globe because his power is like dwindling or it's beaten down. So what I'm picturing is like when he's at his full force, is he able to protect all of his people's minds so that when they do go somewhere else, and like maybe that's one reason he kept him in one place, because he's like, I don't have the power to protect all of your minds, but if I keep you here and you can't leave, then that's just one thing that I have to do instead of like thousands of minds to protect.
I mean, that sounds like the best theory that we've come up with. So I'm going to go with that one.
The other thing is I really want to do the 10,000 step challenge at some point. I don't know what that equates to. Like, what is 10,000 steps? Like, is that the tallest building in the world? Is it less than, more than, 3 times the amount? I don't know, but I want to do it.
Okay, but to do it, I need to do it down first.
And then up.
Like, I need an elevator to take me to the top, and I need to do down first, so then I can understand.
Nesta.
Because I'll never understand the fatigue of going down the stairs, and then you just turn around and walk back up, and you don't even mention how rough it was to get back up. You just do it.
I think that is the biggest plot hole in all 3 of her series, is that for Nesta, it was harder for her to go down than it was to go up.
I never understood it. I was like, maybe
Somebody needs to ask her about that
maybe this is
clarification.
real.
Yeah.
That would
I
have been
almost felt like that
that's
was just like
why-
a typo thing. Like, surely not, right? But you kept going with it. She had no problem turning around and going back up. And I'm like, no, that would be the part where I'd be like, I'm sitting down here for a while until I catch my breath.
That's why the
It's not just doubled down. It's like, it's in there. It's printed forever like this, guys. So when we do it, because I will do it, I need an elevator and I need to be able to just walk down 10,000 steps.
Why do I picture that place that you drove us to, Emily, in Colorado?
Manitou Incline.
It's what I think of, but just like up the side of this mountain to this gorgeous house in the cliff.
All right, so we're going to have to do a Stairmaster, and we're going to have to do a relay, because the tallest building in the world is 160 floors, which equals to be 2,909 steps.
I have a plan.
It's ridiculous.
There's got to be an elevator. We ride the elevator to the top, we walk down. We ride the elevator to the top, we walk down.
I'm not walking
Right?
down at that incline. Are you kidding me?
You do that.
I'd be like
You
feeling
do
like
that
I'm falling
5
forward.
times. 5 times, and that's 10,000.
I just want to know how we're going to get to Dubai. All right, guys, we're starting our GoFundMe. Get us to Dubai.
Oh, it's so easy. That part I'm not even worried about.
Well, I was going to say also what's so hard about the Grand Canyon, because when you go to the Grand Canyon, obviously the first part of your hike is going down. And that's why people get stuck at the bottom, because they're like, oh, shoot, now we got to go up. Chapter 16. So since this is a 40-minute chapter, instead of spending at least 20 minutes trying to recap it, I'm going to give you the briefest, or what I consider a brief overview, because if you're listening, you've at least read this series, so you should know some of the details. We meet the leader of Rhysand's armies, flirty Cassian, and the dark, mysterious spy master Azriel, who has very scarred hands, which is important to note, not a random fact. Both of them have what I imagine like the glove of Thanos on. Anytime it talks about their siphons, glove of Thanos with the jewels. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to look like, but in my mind, that's what I picture. Since they're both Illyrian soldiers, they look a lot alike with their skin tone and wings that are bat wings, not feather, but they are not actually brothers, just both bastards. Moore shows up hot as ever in a red gown and golden cuffs. Then finally, Amren, who Feyre has the instinct to run from, but doesn't, shows up, looking completely fey except for those distinct silver eyes. Jenna, any theories on eyes yet?
Absolutely. Diem and Amren.
Cross series.
I'm joking.
Everyone sits down after Amren thanks Rhysand for her new jewelry and tells Feyre they are 2 peas in a pod, both born as something else but found themselves in new bodies. Feyre decides she does not care to know what Amren was before. Now that wine has been served and that no one is sitting at the head of the table, the meeting can commence. The highlights, besides the teasing family banter, there has been another made new, Miriam, but she was gifted a long life and not a new body. Amren doesn't eat regular food. Azriel and Cassian wear siphons to concentrate their powers. Once again, Thanos gloves. If you're not picturing that, I would love to know what you guys picture later. Illyrians are not high fae or lesser fairies. None of the 4 were under the mountain. Azriel is a shadow slinger. Shadow slinger? Or shadow singer. The Illyrians are warriors, rich in stories and tradition, but they do not treat females well, including Cassian's mother, who worked until she died. Most females who come of age get their wings clipped so they can be kept for breeding more warriors. Now, we also learned that misting is when you basically pulverize a person, which Jenna already used that word earlier in the episode, and it's exactly what Rhysand's dad did to the people that tried to cut off his mom's wings. And at that time, their mating bond clicked into place even though they were wrong for each other. Rhysand was 8 years old when his mom dropped him off at a war camp for Illyrians to learn how to fight. That's when he met Azriel and Cassian. The three became unstoppable, but after 20 years, Rhysand's dad came to visit, saw how powerful they were together, and separated them. For 7 years, as battle raged on, they barely saw each other. Cassian, a foot soldier, as a personal spy to Rhysand's dad, and Rhysand, a commander to Illyrians that hated him for being a half-breed. Then it all changed when Rhysand was captured. But that's a story for another time. Rhysand eventually became High Lord, appointed the four in front of Feyre, and his father's nobles either died, turned on Rhysand, and joined Amarantha, then died, or live in the hewn city under the mountain, aka the Court of Nightmares. And there they at least tolerate Rhysand just enough to keep obedient. Feyre shares her story, and Cassian offers to teach her how to fight. Then Mor offers Feyre some advice. Then Feyre accepts Rhysand's offer to work for him to fight against Hybern. And turns out she starts her new job tomorrow because the king wants to resurrect Jurian and start the war ASAP. So they need to start ASAP too. First up, the prison to meet with the Bone Carver.
I love the Bone Carver. Can't wait. So excited.
Yes.
Bone Carver is one of my favorite characters.
I thought Cassian had blonde hair.
Nobody has blonde hair except Tamlin.
Okay.
Sometimes Moore is depicted with blonde hair, but not always.
Okay, so Cassian and Azriel both have black hair.
They're both like the darker skin tone, darker hair.
One of my favorite lines in all of the books is in this chapter when Amren is like, males are horrible creatures, aren't they? And Mora's like, yeah, they are. They're awful. So I just really like that line. I mean, like I said, in this entire chapter, it's a bunch of that family banter, while important things should be noted and are noted.
I kind of think you think Cassian has blonde hair because I get him so confused with my favorite character from Spark of the Everflame. I'm blanking on his name right now.
But he is your favorite character, to confirm.
To confirm, I don't remember his name at all, but I love him, and I'm pretty sure he has blonde hair. And I get their characters
Taryn?
confused because they're both like comedy relief, big buff dudes.
I'm going to be honest.
You know.
I actually think it's just because Cassian sounds like a blonde-headed dude. Like, the name Cassian is very blonde to me. Azriel, dark-head, for sure. Shadow, slinger, for sure. Adriana, you were giving me eyes when I was talking about Thanos' glove. How do you picture the little siphon gloves?
I just thought it was interesting that you pictured gauntlets like that. I just picture more like a leather band strap kind of like woven throughout their fingers, and it runs up their arms, and in it has the actual jewel.
Like the Jewish prayer thing almost, when they wrap their arms with the elastic. Have you ever seen the Orthodox Jews? They put like a thing down and then they wrap the plastic around their finger. So you picture like a leather strap going around?
It would go around like a middle finger, and then it would be the gem, and then it would be like wrapped around their arms. That's how I picture it.
I don't picture like a metal glove like Thanos has,
No.
but I picture it like leather where the stones are across the knuckles, like how he has it. That's how I picture it. Uses the word glove. It doesn't say like thin leather strap.
Does it say glove?
I think.
It says something about like a glove or gauntlet, I think, but it's just not like
Really? I just
picture.
pictured it like there's a large gem, and it fits like on the back of their hand, and it's like connected by like a ring strap. That's how I've always.
Well, I don't remember how to look up a word on my Kindle in a book, so I can't tell you. But anyways,
Like, I
you
almost feel like it's part of their body armor, but can be removed when needed. Almost like a cuff, but not a cuff.
Did anybody else freak out when they had the name of the lady that was also remade as Miriam? Because I didn't remember. I didn't remember that there was another one and that she was named. She's a named character.
Yeah,
You
she comes
mean-
back later
oh.
in the third book.
Is she the one that Jurian like is friends, buddy old pals with now?
She comes out at the very, very end of book 3.
Oh my god. I think that I read these in a fever dream, guys. I just don't remember.
The tension between Azriel and Moore, I has never been more noticeable than this reread.
Mm-hmm.
And I maybe I just was so focused on Feyre and Rhysand and past rereads that I never thought about it. But now that I'm like paying attention to it, their relationship is very confusing. So I can see why Feyre had so many questions about it later on. Like I don't really get like a love interest from Cassian, but they're both giving physical reactions to each other, which is just very like perplexing to me.
I think it's more like they both love and respect her and care for her. But over the centuries, I think they've realized that it's different. Like how they feel each individually is different.
Yeah, I mean, like Cassie and I only feel brotherly love from him, and there's not mentions of him having a physical reaction when Moore is in distress, but like
Right.
when things are Asriel's talking about his emotional trauma or going through stuff, Moore wants to like reach out and grab his hand, or at least Feyre perceives it that way, and Asriel wants to do the same for Moore, and it's just I never paid that close to attention to details. So for me, I'm like actually kind of confused about the relationship. I know it gets explained later, but I didn't realize it was like this in your face of confusion.
Do you think they have a mating bond that they won't either one accept?
I mean, there's a chance.
Or it's the trauma, or it's just the fact that there was a physical attraction, but because she knew what that would lead to, she picked Cassian to kind of be her relief. But I think because we know that Moore does prefer women, I think that her love for Az is noted, and I think she just doesn't want to keep hurting him. But they have that bond.
I don't think that's 100% out of question, though. Like, I can't say with certainty that that isn't a possibility because it could be that they have a mating bond and they are both ignoring it because Moore prefers women and
Yeah.
as doesn't feel like he's worthy of love. So he's like, I don't want to have a mating bond because I don't think I deserve it.
It would be very interesting if she does confirm anything
Oh,
like that.
how the tables have turned, the turned tables.
Look at all these
Oh, the
theories.
turntables.
It's very brave of Rhysand's mom to throw him into a war camp. That is tough love. I don't know if I could be that tough in my love, but she did what was necessary to make him a strong individual, which that's real love right there.
I honestly think it's kind of crazy that she was granted so much freedom by Rhysand's dad, who, like, I don't know, she could go to the war camp that Cassian, Rhysand, and Azriel still struggle gaining respect from all those men in that war camp. And she had her own cabin there and she took care of those boys there. I think that that's kind of crazy.
For 20 years, too. For 20 years.
Yeah.
Did she just not, because she lived in that cabin with Rhysand, so did the dad just come and visit every now and then, or vice versa?
I don't know. I mean, he's not Illyrian, right? So he doesn't have the like backwards thinking about. Is that right?
He doesn't do anything to stop it. Are you talking about Rhysand's dad, I assume? He doesn't do
Yeah, yeah.
he doesn't do anything to stop it because he didn't want to like mess with that relationship with his armies. But it doesn't say whether he believed in it or didn't. He obviously stopped his mom from getting her wings chopped off. So
Yeah.
it was protection, but it doesn't say like his virtues were like, oh yeah, women shouldn't be treated this way. He just chose not to address that topic because he needed the Illyrians to fight for him. I mean, and Moore doesn't seem to like his dad, and it seems like a complicated relationship with Rhysand, so I bet he wasn't like the best person in the world, but not the worst either. Chapter 17. Feyre upon... Is it Jurian too? It's Jurian, right? I always want to say Julian. King Julian! Okay. Chapter 17. Feyre pondered Jurian and the role he would play on the flight back from dinner. God, that sounds like he's taken like a Southwest flight or something. But the flight is with Rhysand because he has wings. Bat, not feather. She also talks with Rhysand about their bond and the cost for keeping his people safe. Amarantha's whore was the cost, and most people believe he is a monster. When Amarantha tricked Rhysand out of his powers, he used some of what little power was left, which was still more than everyone else, to control anyone's mind that was under the mountain who knew about Valeris for all 50 years. Then he used the rest of his powers to shield Valeris, the shield bubble, to protect it from Amarantha's wrath. Then, since so little power was left, he distracted her by being her whore. Feyre ends the conversation saying it's a shame people don't know the truth, but he insists that as long as the people that matter most know that he's not a monster, then he'll be okay. That night, Feyre has a horrid nightmare about Amarantha and is woken by hands shaking her shoulders and someone yelling, "Feyre!" It's Rhysand, of course. It's always Rhysand. She realizes she's shred her bed with flames as hands and runs to the bathroom. Rhysand follows her and does, to me, one of the most romantic things in any book, and holds her hair as she hurls her guts. And not a single mention of watery bowels. Still, WTF. As he's holding her hair as she throws up, he shares that he has nightmares too. Often Cassian or Azriel are pinned by their wings and he can't get to them, and then he fails them. Feyre, in between vomits, assures him that he has never failed them, and he just responds with that he did horrible things under the mountain to ensure that. Then Feyre asks where the flames come from. Autumn Court, Lucian's daddy. She falls asleep against the toilet to awake in bed the next day. And what's on the agenda after a night of nightmares? Living nightmares. They're visiting the prison. As they try climbing the steps of the rock, Feyre realizes she was so distracted by Rhysand writing a letter to Summer Court to request a visit that she hasn't asked any questions about the prison. She learned it's older than the High Lords, Amren was once a prisoner, and finally she learns she wants to not be here. So she asks Rhysand to take her back. He does. She feels like a failure and sleeps for the rest of the day. They talk about they're filling each other more through the bond, or how they can just do things that even Rhysand can't explain. I mean, that's totes just the mating bond, right?
He does say something interesting, though, that it could be, I don't know if he's just trying to cover his tracks because he knows a little bit that the mating bond is kind of there, or what. He says, since you have some of my power, that might be how you slip into my mind so easily. I wonder how you'll react to the other High Lords. He does say something like that, and it does kind of make sense. I don't know if that could be another reason why their connection is strong, is because she has some of his power in her.
I mean, that's how, the Summer Court, she is able to get to that book so easily because she's able to be the Summer Court guy so easily and to have his powers.
Yeah.
What they're feeling and what
yeah.
they're thinking and stuff. Like, she has to actively go into their mind versus, like, with Rhys, there's that connection that I think is the mating bond. That he won't acknowledge it to her just yet, obviously. But I think there's a lot more to it that he's realizing is deeper than what he even saw with his parents. Because he's the highest, the strongest highest lord. And I think it's starting to show, obviously, because of her powers, that she's just equally, if not above.
The strongest High Lord, the most powerful High Lord in all of the continent's history. Which is crazy to think about when Amarantha fooled all of the High Lords into giving her powers by throwing the same party at every single court.
She's like, let me invite you to this masquerade. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. I'm sorry I was a bitch before, but I promise this time's different.
This time's different. Have the Fey wine, you'll forget.
Yeah.
I am not throwing a party to trick you again. That'd be so silly. I mean, I did it once and it worked. Shame on you. I won't do it again.
There are times when I get sick and I don't want anyone to touch me, but when I have someone rub my back while I throw up, I do love that. So,
I'll hold your hair like he did.
Yeah, that's very romantic. So that's why I was like, because that's just so much more than physical. You're putting yourself out there. You might get vomit on you, and you're saying, I don't care if I get your vomit on me. I love you that much.
That was the second thing of what he ran in there to wake her up from the nightmare.
Yeah.
He ran in there to be there with her, to be like, this is reality. It was just a bad dream. Like, you're not alone. I also share them. Let me help ease that. And then she's sick. And he's like, I'm not going to leave your side.
That's the most romantic thing to me, is that he not just is there physically, but he's also there mentally with her.
Yeah.
He's like, this is what I dream about. Like, I do this too. You're not alone in your trauma. Other people are experiencing this too. Other people did bad things too. You're worth being here. Like, he sits there and talks her through all of that. He doesn't just physically be there, even though sometimes that is enough.
Well, and him and Tamlin both suffer that same PTSD. And even though Tamlin can't jump into her mind and see what she's seeing or be awoken by it, if her like mental shield has come down and she's sharing that through that bond that they have, he just needs to get up and talk to her. He just needs to
Let's be
reassure her.
honest.
Come on.
He's got Fey hearing. He knows she's not only should he sense that her little eyeballs open up, he can smell it when she throws up. He can hear it when she throws up. He can feel her walking around. Like, all in every book that you ever read, all Fey beings have heightened senses, all of them. There's no way that this beast form of a man doesn't know what's going on. He's not just sleeping through her nightmares.
No, he confirms
He's making a choice.
He confirms
Yeah.
it. It's the last thing he says to her before he leaves with that shield around the house. He's like, you can't even stomach every night, or like whatever he like words it as. Like, basically like admitting, like, I know you get up and throw up every night. So like clearly you're still dealing with shit too. And she's like, so are you. Like, but yet you're going to just roll over and not even like check on me. You're not going to even say anything to me. You're not going to want to be like, hey, do you want to talk about it? Like, no, because then I can't address my own nightmares, because you just need to get through yours, because that's how I do. I just take everything and wall up and I don't let anybody in. No, that's not healthy. Like,
In fairness, not to defend Tamlin, but she also ignores him at night when he starts prowling around and turns into a little kitty cat at the end of the bed.
but she tries to like console him, and he's the one who reacts bad.
Yeah, it says that she woke up with him and tried to like comfort him.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, stay away, turned into a beast, little wolf at the end of the bed, curled up and went night-night.
Last, and this is a universe spoiler, so if you haven't read the entire universe, then please skip ahead to the next chapter marker. But it's just, we know that this prison plays a huge role in Crescent City. What else do you think this prison holds? What secrets do you think, or do you just want to leave it as you don't think we're done with the prison? Do you think the prison's coming back at some point within Crescent City, within ACOTAR, or even another series? Are we getting more of this prison?
I think that the bone carver that's in the prison has something to do with the truth sword from, is that Throne of Glass? Where like they go underneath in the catacombs.
Like when, what's her face picks out her wedding ring?
No.
By the cave.
I'm trying really hard. Is it Throne of Glass or is it Crescent City, where there's a truth sword and it's in the catacombs and there's bones everywhere?
I thought ACOTAR.
And all of the names are carved in there. Like, you give a secret or something. You tell your worst thing you've ever done. It's a truth area. Is it Crescent City or is it Throne of Glass?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I know that it ends up that like Gavin or whatever his name is.
Okay, that's Throne of Glass. Yeah.
He has the sword, but I don't remember which book series it is that they actually go into the cave of bones and catacombs where the sword came from.
Do you think the bone carver is from there, or they're intertwined somehow?
Yeah, I think somehow that's connected. I mean, it's bones, right? Bones. Well, you don't even have to go to eye color at this point. It's just
bones.
Connect the bones.
One bone is the same bone as the other bone. I just think that the prison has a ton of secrets, and I don't think that we're done with it yet. I think we just got a glimpse of it in the I'm excited when we read Crescent City to be like, what? I can't even remember what all happens in the prison, but I know it's a big part.
Also, Reese says it's kind of like its own court on its own.
The eighth court, which we're about to get into in chapter 18.
I think the theories are endless on your question.
Like,
Because
you could
there
go
is
down rabbit
so
holes.
much. Oh yeah. There's so many things that there's just so much. I'm just gonna not answer anything.
Well, you can just say you agree that we're not done with the prison yet.
I do agree with that. And I do think that it plays a huge role. And I do think like the missing court, I do think that we see a lot of that in Crescent City be confirmed. But I also think that what the Bone Carver is and his siblings are ancient as much as Amren, if not older. And I think that this world is something we will be shown and given later on. Like, there's just too much to it that she has built up without giving us everything. And I feel like even if she doesn't do it within this series, it'll be something that ties to this series.
Chapter 18. Feyre awakes the next day with Amren at the edge of her bed telling her she reeks of throw up. Then she throws a gold amulet of pearl and cloudy blue stone on the bed, saying it's what got Amren out of the prison, so it will help Feyre do the same. Amren leaves with the threat that Feyre is just borrowing it and it's not to keep. That day, Feyre and Reese are hiking the prison again, and Reese keeps looking at the necklace skeptically, saying, "She let you have that?" It's exactly what Feyre needed to come back to the prison after ditching the day before, which she apologizes for. While they hike, Feyre asks Rhysand questions. Who would win in a hand-to-hand fight between Rhysand and Cassian? The answer, Cassian. Where are Azriel's scars from? Answer, he was kept in a cell with no window or light for 11 years except for 1 hour every day. When he was 8, his 2 brothers decided to test his Illyrian healing powers with oil and fire. Then Feyre asks what Mor does. Rhysand says she is who he calls when the armies fail and both Cassian and Azriel are dead. But until that scenario happens, she is his court overseer. Amren is his political advisor, walking library, and doer of dirty work. She's also who he unleashes if Azriel, Cassian, and Mor are dead, to end himself first, then the world. Their conversation ends when gates of bone appear and start to open. The prison reminds Feyre of Under the Mountain, but she breathes through it with the help of Rhysand. She now starts to ask about the prison again. She asks about the guards, who she learns are basically shadows that dwell in the rock of the mountain and only come out during feeding or to deal with restless prisoners. She also learns that Rhysand is the only High Lord that can enter this prison. It's basically like an 8th court. Once people are sentenced here, they belong to the prison. The prisoners also listen to what you say, looking to sell information for whatever they can, so you have to be careful what you talk about. Amren was here for a few millennia, but Rhysand has never asked for an exact timeline. Feyre asks where Amren was from. Rhysand doesn't know, but she more than likely came from a rip into another world. Down and down they go, headed towards the Bone Carver. Who's the Bone Carver? Whoever they want to be, and appear to the person that's looking at them. And just like that, Rhysand puts his hand on the rock and a door forms. They enter and meet the Bone Carver. It appears to Feyre as an 8-year-old boy. Rhysand throws a calf bone at the boy and says it's the one that made the final killing blow when Feyre slew the Alaskan bullworm. The Bone Carver says they may enter and a conversation ensues. The overview, they agree on a question for a question. Feyre answers where she went when she died. She says she heard the crack of her neck, it went dark, but then there was a thread. The thread was the bond she had with Rhysand, and she saw through his eyes. Then she followed that thread back to life when she was made anew. The Bone Carver asks several follow-up questions about the afterlife, but now it's Feyre's turn. She asks if a bit of bone was enough to resurrect someone. The answer? The cauldron could get it done. Where is the cauldron? The Bone Carver doesn't know. The feet were cut off and hidden in 3 temples, but he doesn't know who has the cauldron. But if they had the feet, then they could use the cauldron again. The conversation starts to end with Feyre saying there was a choice in death. She chose to stay because something good was waiting for her. Then the bone carver says one more thing, that Rhysand knows who has the cauldron, aka the King of Hybern. And if wielded right, it could also break down a certain wall. So how to stop the cauldron? The Book of Breathings, which was split in 2. One section's in the Summer Court, and the other section belongs to the Mortal Queens. It could stop the cauldron, but to steal it would risk it burning into nothing. As they leave, the bone carver says he is going to carve Feyre's death into the bone they gave him. Feyre admits to Rhysand she saw the bone carver as a little boy, and Rhysand says he saw him as Jurian. I find it so interesting that Rhysand sees the bone carver as Jurian.
Why?
That's just so random. Like, why does Feyre see it as the little boy? That's like someone that she is going to love and care about. Like, we know that that's her future son with Rhysand. So strange that he sees the bone carver as Jurian.
To unnerve him, to show him that that's where his answer lies, is with Jurian and the King of Hybern.
That's what I'm
For
saying.
Feyre, I think it's an interesting choice to already show the kid because it's what's to come.
So is the bone carver messing with him because he's showing Feyre part of her future, and so that means he's showing Rhysand part of his past?
I just can't see. I feel like the bone carver has a reason for, like, obviously what he shows the person. So I can't see the parallels in, like, why is Feyre seeing her future child, but then Rhysand is seeing Jurian, who even throughout the whole series and where we're at now, it doesn't seem like there's like a crazy strong connection to. So are they both seeing a future version, and Jurian is going to have a bigger role to play in the future of this series?
I mean, if you think about it, Jurian is like in human form to him versus his deconstruction little eye and a ring kind of thing. But at the same time, I think it's like what the Suriel was trying to hint at. It's a way for him to kind of show her that, like, you are tied to him. Your future is to him, and this will be your future son. But she's not putting those pieces together. She just feels a connection to this boy, and she doesn't know why, but he looks familiar, but she doesn't know why. And I think it's like planting seeds for them. With Rhysand, I think it is a way of showing that he needs to get answers because they're asking about the cauldron. And he kind of admits that you already know where it is. It's with the King of Hybern. But who do we know has ties to the King of Hybern as well? Jurian. But I think it's also just a way to kind of be like...
confirming that he's on the right path, almost?
Maybe. I mean, like you said,
it could be.
He has his own mind for why he chooses to appear as who he wants to appear. And it's different for everyone. So not everyone in that room is going to see the same thing.
I mean, Rhysand comes to him at this point with Jurian on his mind. Like, that's his main question. He needs to know if he can be resurrected. So the fact that he's seen him as he was the last time he saw him in human form, that's kind of an answer in and of itself, you know? And Feyre right now is kind of like stuck in this weird limbo spot. And now she's like wondering about her future, and he's showing her future. I don't know. I just like the bone carver.
I will be over analyzing every other bone carver scenario within this series, so buckle up.
Oh yeah, the Weaver interactions, what is it? What is the one that Cassian's terribly, terribly afraid of? I can't remember its name.
I always accidentally call it the same beast's name as the 13's. What's her name? Manon's.
Oh,
Bryaxis,
yeah.
but it's not Bryaxis.
Bryaxis. It's Abraxas.
Abraxas, thank
like
you.
That.
Yeah, they're real close in name.
Why do you think the bone carver wants to know where she went? Like, is he so interested in knowing if there's an afterlife? Because, like, maybe that's where he's from is what is considered their afterlife. Like, he just wants to know if there is a rip into another world so he can go back home.
Pretty sure later on he kind of talks about that's what he's trying to figure out, is if he can use it as an escape. if he can use death to like move between worlds again.
So do you think that he's so willing to sacrifice himself later for all these people that he seemingly has no connections to, because it insinuates that he dies on the battlefield? Because I can't remember if he's one of the ones that gets blasted by that ray or not. So was he so like ready to do that because he saw it as a way to get back to where he's from?
I also think he may have power of death, but he might not in this world.
So in death, he gains powers.
I just think there's so much more to it. I don't think any of us are right or wrong. I just think there's so much that we could like still pin and tie and be like, okay, Sarah, any day now.
Yeah. It's fun to talk about too, because we're gonna have actual record on if we were right about any strings that we are trying to connect that either are or aren't there. And lastly, it just drives me crazy how much her killing the two Fae people is brought up, but we never learn who they were. Like, you would think that at some point we would get their backstory, but we don't. So I am hoping that we find out who they were, since it is like Feyre's like biggest plot line in this book. I feel like is like, oh, but I stabbed those two Fae people. I feel so bad about it. Like, why is she not sticking it out?
I kind of think that it's possible that the point is that they're just random and they don't really have that much significance. But the fact that they were innocent is what is just so haunting to Feyre.
I need there to be a revenge plot that the parents of those children, who they were not random to, come and find Feyre and try to kill her.
That in and of itself is also the point, is like she realizes they belong to somebody and she hates the fact that she just killed them.
Okay, so for the spotlight, if you haven't seen yet, Fourth Wing has been confirmed and announced by Amazon Studios that they are going to be the ones taking it up. It's going to be a TV series, and every book will be a season. It's Michael B. Jordan. I don't know if it's his company that's doing it, but people are super excited that he's the one that's like in charge of its creative direction and stuff. And if you're on any form of social media, I'd love to hear your thoughts on who people are guessing is going to be casted as Xaden, because people are rioting because they think it's Josh. Is it Houston? I think is how you say his last name. You are either a fan for him to be Xaden, or you are on the total opposite spectrum. Like, people are threatening to go knock on doors if he is casted, which I think is just absolutely hilarious. I can't think of the other guy people want to be Xaden, but whoever the other guy is, I think he should be Xaden. I don't hate Josh so much as everybody else, but I definitely think this other guy, he's, to me, Josh has too kind of a face. Like, his face is too kind to be Xaden for me. That's the spotlight for fan theories. I don't have anything. We kind of talked about it throughout the episode. I guess my only fan theory is, I think in the next couple of books, we're going north. We're going to the other continents. So buckle up.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Now let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Next episode, we will be stripping down chapters 19 through 26 of A Court of Mist and Fury with a special guest, Nivea from A Court of Romantasy. Super excited to have her on and talk all kinds of theories. Tune in every Tuesday on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast for a new episode of Book Thots. And be sure to hit that follow button on all of our socials.